Usually when you look at a sports fixture, there's this expectation of predictability.
Oh, for sure. Almost like mathematics.
Exactly. Like you take the reigning world champions, you put them up against a team making their absolute debut on the global stage, and the spreadsheet just points and says, 3-0, go home.
Right. Goliath crushes David. The hierarchies are neatly categorized, and everyone just moves on to the next round.
But then you step onto the pitch for this 2026 World Cup Group J finale between Argentina and Jordan, and suddenly that spreadsheet just completely shatters.
It really does.
We are looking at a footballing landscape today that is just anything but routine. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are bringing you, yes, you listening right now, into a match that looked like a standard 3-1 win on paper, but I promise you are about to discover a masterclass in hidden tactics, psychological stoicism, and viral cultural identity.
We have a massive stack of sources to get through today, too.
We really do. We're pulling from official FIFA match reports, some incredibly detailed tactical and statistical analyses from Squawka post-match player interviews.
A viral cultural moment that lit up European media.
Oh, that's my favorite part. And translated press conference transcripts straight from YouTube. Okay, let's unpack this.
To really grasp the gravity of this match, we have to start by looking at the geometry of the pitch. Forget the final score for a moment.
Okay, setting the scene. It's Dallas, June 2026.
Right. Argentina is looking to sweep their group, while Jordan, a debutante team, is just desperate to leave a historical mark.
Yeah, but the most shocking element of this fixture wasn't who was on the ball.
No, it was who was completely absent from the starting lineup.
It's a massive historical anomaly. According to our sources, Argentina fielded their first World Cup starting 11 without Lionel Messi for the first time since June 30th, 2006.
Wow, 2006.
Right. To put that in perspective for you listening, in 2006, people were still using flip phones.
Yeah, that was a quarterfinal against Germany 2 decades ago.
Exactly. Head coach Lionel Scaloni made 9 sweeping changes from their previous game against Austria. Like, only Emiliano Martinez in goal and Lautaro Martinez up top kept their spots.
So he essentially walked into a World Cup fixture with a reserve squad.
Yeah, which makes me think of looking at a massive suspension bridge, right? And the engineers suddenly decide to move all the primary support cables to one side just to see if the structure still holds under the weight of traffic.
That structural imbalance is exactly what played out on the grass, actually.
Yeah.
Squawka's tactical breakdown labeled Argentina's setup an asymmetrical 4-3-3.
Which sounds incredibly risky.
It is. The mechanics behind this are fascinating.
Right.
Normally, a top-tier team wants balance.
Right.
You want to attack evenly or dominate the center of the park through intricate short passing to suffocate the opponent centrally.
But Scaloni didn't do that.
Not at all. He threw that playbook out the window. He completely ignored the left side and the center. Instead, Argentina funneled 48% of all their attacks exclusively down the right flank.
Wait, almost half of their entire offense down one side?
Yes.
Yeah.
For context, earlier in the tournament against Algeria, only 26% of their attacks favored the right.
So this was a deliberate, overwhelming overload on one specific channel of the pitch.
Exactly.
But how does an asymmetrical attack actually function without leaving the rest of your team completely exposed? Like, what's the mechanical advantage of putting all your eggs in the right side basket?
Well, it acts like a boxer constantly throwing heavy right hooks.
Okay, I can picture that.
Even if the opponent blocks them, they instinctively drop their left guard to brace for the impact, right? Which opens up a massive blind spot.
Ah, I see.
By crowding the right side of the pitch, Argentina forced Jordan's entire defensive structure to tilt laterally. Scaloni achieved this by deploying Giuliano Simeone as a traditional chalk-on-the-boots winger on the right, stretching the field to its absolute physical limit.
And what was happening on the other side?
Meanwhile, on the opposite flank, Giovanni Lo Celso didn't play as a winger at all. He drifted all the way inside to crowd the midfield.
Oh, wow.
But the real engine of this system was Ezequiel Palacios. He was nominally playing right back, but mechanically, he was operating as a deep-lying playmaker.
So he was the one pulling the strings.
Exactly. He was dictating the tempo and spraying passes from a defensive wide position, forcing Jordan to step out and press him, which, only created more gaps behind them.
Okay, I have to push back here. I understand the geometry of overloading a flank, but these are backup players.
Sure.
These are guys who do not play heavy minutes together. How does a rotated squad walk onto the pitch and execute a complex, lopsided tactical scheme while still maintaining the standard of the reigning World Cup champions?
It's a great question.
You would expect massive gaps in communication or, like, a lack of chemistry.
Well, the glue holding that lopsided structure together was their defensive intensity the moment they lost the ball.
The press.
Right. Squawka highlighted a metric called PPDA. That's passes per defensive action.
Okay, explain that for us.
This stat measures exactly how many passes a team allows their opponent to string together before initiating a tackle or interception.
So a high number means what?
A high number means you are sitting back and letting the opponent pass. A low number means you are pressing aggressively.
Got it.
Against Algeria, Argentina's PPDA was a very relaxed 20.0.
20 passes before a defensive action.
Right. But against Jordan, it plummeted to an incredibly aggressive 8.6. In the first half, it was 7.6.
That's insane. So they were essentially swarming the ball carrier within seconds of losing possession.
The physical toll of sustaining an 8.6 PPA is immense. It looks like a swarm of bees hunting the ball.
And what's the strategic outcome of making a team run that much?
Panic. When you suffocate a team that deeply in their own half, they can't think. They make rash decisions.
They make mistakes.
Exactly. They commit fouls in dangerous areas. It's no coincidence that all three of Argentina's goals in this match originated from set pieces.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. A high press forces defensive panic. Panic breeds fouls just outside the penalty box. And fouls feed into Argentina's lethal set-piece routines. It was an absolute clinic in using fresh, rotated legs to manufacture chaos.
Managing that kind of organized chaos, though, especially with an inherently unstable, asymmetrical formation, requires a manager whose brain is constantly operating 3 steps ahead.
Oh, absolutely.
Which brings us perfectly to Lionel Scaloni and the YouTube transcript we pulled of his post-match press conference. It sheds so much light on his, frankly bizarre, seemingly emotionless sideline behavior.
His psychological approach to game management is just as complex as his tactical setups.
But before we get to his stoicism, I have to point out the blatant contradiction in his own words.
Oh, the superstition part.
Yes. So a reporter asks him about his superstitions, or Kabbalahs, which are a massive part of Argentine football culture. And Scaloni looks dead at the microphone and says, I don't really have superstitions. But in the literal next breath, he admits, well, I always make sure to enter the pitch with my right foot first, and I always cross myself.
Classic.
Come on. That is the dictionary definition of a superstition. You can't just casually admit to a rigid pregame ritual and then claim you operate purely on logic.
It's a glaring contradiction, I agree, but it reveals how he compartmentalizes his own mind.
How so?
He views the right foot entry as a personal grounding mechanism, a way to switch his brain into match mode rather than like a magic spell that guarantees a win.
Okay, fair enough.
But what is truly revealing in that transcript is his explanation for why he refuses to celebrate goals.
This part fascinated me.
Picture the scene, right? A World Cup goal goes in, the stadium erupts, the bench is going wild. Most managers are sprinting down the touchline.
Yeah, sliding on their knees in a suit.
Exactly. Scaloni simply reaches for his water bottle. He tells the press that when his team scores, even when they do something he calls abnormal, he doesn't cheer.
Right.
Instead, he says he takes a drink of water and, quote, chews on the moment.
Choose on the moment. It's such a visceral phrase.
It perfectly captures the mental load of managing that asymmetrical press we just discussed. Because that system is so volatile, a goal often means the opponent is about to instantly change their shape out of desperation.
Oh, so he's already reacting to their reaction.
Exactly. Scaloni delays the gratification of the celebration because he is already running calculations on the opponent's countermove. It's an extreme form of emotional regulation.
It really is.
Think about it for you listening. Most of us, when we land a major client or finish a massive project, immediately want to pop the champagne and ride the high.
I know I do.
Right. But Scaloni denies himself that high because he knows that the second you celebrate, you surrender your hyper-focus on maintaining control of the environment.
So his stoicism isn't a lack of passion. It's a functional tool. He is building a mental fortress to keep his mind calculating while 80,000 people are literally shaking the concrete around him. But while Scaloni was building fortresses in his mind, out on the pitch, Jordan was playing with this unbridled emotional intensity to secure their own legacy.
Yeah, and Scaloni's aggressive high-wire act left a very specific vulnerability at the back, and Jordan's tactical structure was designed perfectly to exploit it.
Let's dive into Jordan's mechanics.
Yeah.
They are nicknamed the chivalrous ones, led by their Moroccan coach Jamal Salami. As debutantes facing the world champions, they deployed a compact 3-4-2-1 structure.
Right.
The strategy relied heavily on something called a low block. So for those listening who might not spend their weekends drawing tactical boards,
Which is probably most people.
probably, a low block essentially means dropping all 11 players deep into your own defensive third. You compress the space between your defenders and your midfielders so tightly that the attacking team simply has no room to play passes through the middle.
You force them out wide.
Exactly. It functions exactly like a tightly coiled spring. You absorb all the pressure, wait for the opponent to overcommit, and the second you win the ball, you release all that stored tension forward in a rapid counterattack.
And because Argentina was operating with that aggressive 8.6 PPDA we talked about,
Right.
and committing so many bodies to the right flank, the moment Jordan won possession, there were massive acres of vacated green grass on the opposite side of the field.
Which brings us to the 55th minute.
The spring releases.
Ehsan Haddad finds space, drives forward, and delivers a brilliant low cross. Substitute Moussa Altamari, who plays his club football in France, connects and drives it into the net.
Such a huge moment.
It was the very first goal conceded by Emiliano Martinez in the entire tournament. The spreadsheet broke. Jordan landed a massive, historic punch.
The cultural weight of that specific goal just cannot be overstated. Looking at the FIFA interview with Altamari, he grounds that moment entirely in the concept of the Al Nashama spirit.
Tell us about that.
Well, it translates roughly to generosity and a noble soul, but in a footballing context, it represents a gritty, unyielding refusal to bow down to superiority. Jordan did not stumble into this tournament by accident.
No, they did.
They forged their qualification by going unbeaten away from home, conceding only 5 goals in 8 grueling road matches.
That requires an absolute fortress mentality. You don't survive away qualifiers in Asia without a serious spine.
You really don't. And Altamari highlighted the immense backing they received from Crown Prince Al Hussein bin Abdullah, which frames this entire campaign.
It was bigger than football for them.
Much bigger. For Jordan, this match wasn't just about trying to scrape a point. It was a sovereign mission to introduce Jordanian football to the globe ahead of the 2025 Arab Cup in Qatar.
Wow.
Scoring against the reigning world champions, breaking Emiliano Martinez's clean sheet, it proves unequivocally that they have the tactical discipline and the raw heart to belong on the same pitch as the Titans.
And that audacious desire to assert their identity didn't just happen on the grass with Altamari's goal.
Oh, no, it definitely didn't.
It echoed straight up into the stands and created what I think is the most memorable off-field moment of the entire group stage.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Here's where it gets really interesting. European sports media went absolutely crazy over a viral image from the crowd. During the height of the match, a Jordanian fan hoisted up a massive banner.
It was so clever.
The banner simply pointed out a stark historical timeline. It said the sovereign nation of Jordan gained its independence in 1946.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the legendary American basketball player Michael Jordan was born in 1963.
I love that.
The message was hilarious, brilliant, and deeply clear. We were Jordan long before Michael was Jordan. The country came first.
The communication strategy behind that banner is genius.
Right.
Consider the environment of a 48-team World Cup.
Oh yeah, it's massive.
The global attention span is incredibly fractured. There are so many matches happening simultaneously. A debutante nation has perhaps a 90-minute window to make 1 billion people understand who they are.
That's a lot of pressure.
If you hold up a banner with complex geopolitical history, the cameras will ignore it. But by hijacking a universally understood pop culture reference, Michael Jordan, to highlight your own sovereign history, you bypass language barriers entirely.
It's just brilliant.
It's witty, it's non-political, and it forces the global audience to engage with your national identity with a smile.
I absolutely love the irony of it, too, because if you read through the AP reports from earlier in the tournament, an Argentine fan went viral for comparing Lionel Messi's current squad to Michael Jordan's 1990s Chicago Bulls dynasty.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so you have the exact same pop culture. No. The Argentines used him as a metric of untouchable sporting greatness, and the Jordanians used him as a comedic foil to assert their historical timeline. It perfectly illustrates how interconnected global sports culture has become.
It really does. But, you know, as sharp as the fans are in the stands, and as resilient as the Jordanian structure was on the pitch, The reality of playing Argentina is that eventually you have to confront the inevitable force of history waiting on the bench.
The ultimate tactical skeleton key, Lionel Messi.
Yeah, Jordan's equalizer forced Scaloni to stop chewing on the moment and finally make his move.
In the 60th minute, the crowd in Dallas gives an absolute deafening standing ovation as Messi steps onto the pitch. And we fast forward to the 80th minute. Argentina wins a free kick about 25 meters out.
The tension in the stadium is just palpable.
Everyone expects Messi to do what he usually does, whiff the ball over the wall into the top corner.
But the mechanics of this specific free kick reveal exactly how an aging superstar adapts his game.
How so?
Well, at 39 years old, Messi knows he cannot rely purely on the physical burst of his 20s. Instead, he relies on psychological warfare.
Oh, I like that.
He knows the Jordanian defensive wall is terrified of his top corner strike, right? So they are primed to jump as high as humanly possible the second he strikes the ball.
Anticipating the lift.
Exactly. He uses their own anticipation against them. He steps up and strikes a low, curling effort that slides directly underneath the jumping boots of the wall and into the net.
It's a game of tactical chicken, and he won.
Completely.
And the statistics tied to that single swing of his left boot barely feel real.
Oh, the numbers are absurd.
This was his 19th World Cup goal. It was the 72nd free kick goal of his career. He now sits at 123 international goals, trailing only Cristiano Ronaldo's 145.
And we connect this to the bigger picture. The historical gravity goes even deeper than those raw totals.
Deeper how?
With that low, curling strike, Lionel Messi, at 39 years old, became the first player in the history of the sport to score in 7 consecutive World Cup matches.
Wow.
He eclipsed absolute legends like France's Just Fontaine and Brazil's Jorginho, who famously scored in every single game of the 1970 World Cup.
That is legendary company.
It is. Messi didn't just win a group stage match. He actively rewrote the foundational records of the tournament. And that individual brilliance serves a broader team objective.
Right.
By securing this 3-1 victory and sweeping Group J, Argentina is now positioned to chase Brazil's legendary 2002 record.
What's the record?
They were the last team to win the World Cup after a flawless 100% win rate in the group stages.
Wow. It's staggering to think about the sheer amount of narrative packed into just 90 minutes. You have Scaloni treating the pitch like a high-wire tactical experiment, moving his pieces into a lopsided shape, and relying on extreme emotional discipline to manage the chaos.
Yeah, that 8.6 ppda.
Right. Then you have Jordan executing a brilliant low-block defensive spring, unleashing a historic goal that validates their al-Nashama spirit while their fans deliver a masterclass in viral pop culture communication.
1946 over 1963.
Exactly. And weaving through all of it, you have the quiet inevitability of a 39-year-old Messi bending the ball under a jumping wall to stand completely alone in the history books.
So what does this all mean?
That is the big question.
As we zoom out and look at the landscape of a newly expanded 48-team World Cup, the disparity between the established titans and the debutantes is sharper than ever.
You definitely see it.
You see it in the aggressive pressing metrics, the depth of the benches, and the individual technical brilliance. But this match raises a fascinating question for you to ponder as the tournament progresses.
What should they be thinking about?
In the modern era of global sports, where attention is fleeting and the stages are only getting bigger, will our most enduring memories be the giants like Messi methodically breaking untouchable legacy-defining records? Or will it be the debutantes, the teams like Jordan, using their brief fleeting window in the spotlight to creatively, passionately, and forcefully make the entire world learn their name?
It brings us right back to that spreadsheet we talked about at the beginning. The math said 3-1, but the spreadsheet couldn't predict the tactical geometry of an asymmetrical 4-3-3.
No, it couldn't.
It couldn't measure the defensive tension of a low block. It certainly couldn't predict a viral history lesson about 1946, and it couldn't capture the psychological warfare of bending a ball under a wall to make history.
The math is never the whole story.
It never is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into our sources today. We promise to bring you more surprising connections next time. Keep exploring.